This is Beyond the Veil with Norman Meredith.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Norman Meredith coming from Pickens, South Carolina with episode 46 of Beyond the Veil. And tonight we're going to talk with First Nation shaman, paranormal investigator, phenomenon investigator, Bigfoot investigator, and person I turn to when I hit a rut in a stone wall, William Nighthawk. He runs his own 2 podcasts. I'm going to throw up some screenshots of his podcast, and I'm going to let him tell you about that. Where you can find it. It's William Nighthawk's High Strangeness, and let's throw up the other one here, Into the Red Rabbit Hole podcast. And William, tell us a little bit. First, let's start with you. Now, I know you got an interesting background. You're former Special Forces. You're a First Nation shaman, if I remember correctly. And you once told me you played both sides of the aisle as a shaman at one time.
Yes, I did.
But now you're on the side of light.
Yeah, I was raised by a dark witch. And under my people's guidance, for my first 13 years of my life, I was actually raised to a dark magic movement.
So you've seen basically the face of evil and what prowls people's nightmares, to be honest, out there.
Oh, I've danced with a lot of demons.
Okay, because I know as a person in my personal life, I've run into a lot of paranormal problems growing up, a lot of spiritual ghosts, specters, poltergeists. I've had a lot of that activity in my life. And then, growing up, there's I had a lot of UFO sightings related to my life for some strange reason. And then accidentally falling into the cryptid side. And that's a rabbit hole itself. But from you and I talking, it's just freaking amazing. You have your sanity. I mean,
yes, it is.
I want to go back because you got an interesting background. A lot of people don't know this, but some of this stuff started with your dad. A lot of people don't know this, but your father served in World War II as an Army mechanic in Patton's Army. And I'm going to let you tell the story about the Black Forest and 3 interesting objects he brought back from Germany. Yeah. And we're going to go from there.
My father was a mechanic and infantryman for the 4th Armored Division. And during World War II, he was the middleweight boxing champion of the military. So him and General Patton became pretty close friends because Patton won money betting my father. So that's how the whole thing started with him and Patton. And my father was part of the elite group of 4th Armored Division that got requested to do certain special operations during World War II. And he divulged a lot to me right at the kitchen table when I was a child growing up.
Yeah, now he told you about, now Ed, I want you to start bringing up the German UFOs, the V1, the V2, and what looks like, now he found an underground bunker, part of a platoon that found the H-220s, more than 2 that was reported. These are the first stealth fighters that were found. He found these, the V2 buzz bombs that were there. Excuse me, this is the V1 buzz bomb. He also, another picture of the H-220. Okay, this is another one of the V1. This is a V2 rocket. Now, these are part of Hitler's wonder weapons that your dad found this immense bunker full. Another picture of the V2. V2. There's V1. There's a picture of planes with little globes flying around it. There we go. Foo Fighters. Now, you said your dad told you about finding these orbs inside this bunker.
Yes, Norm. He told me quite a bit that he found in that bunker. He said there was a couple of these bell-shaped objects with hieroglyphics on them. He also said that there was several of the metal orbs that were on the ground sitting there.
Okay.
And a couple other flying saucer type of craft like a boomerang.
Okay, Ed, there should be one that looks like an acorn with a Nazi signal.
That's correct.
Okay, it's not in there? All right, what about some UFOs? I got a couple flying saucers in there, I think.
Yep.
Okay.
He told me that they looked like a top hat that was pushed down.
Okay, maybe they didn't load. Apparently, I didn't get them in this download. But that is amazing. See, here's one I want to talk to you about, and I want your opinion. Now, Tom Arnold, was it Tom Arnold, that's seen the first flying saucers in 1947. Arnold is the last name. Over Mount Rainier in Washington State. He reported seeing half a dozen to a dozen silver flying discs. But if you looked at the picture he'd drawn, go back to that flying wing picture a minute for me, please, Ed, if you get a second. This is what I'm thinking. The picture that he showed is similar to this particular drawing, but if you were to put silver paint on it or remove the wood and put aluminized metal on it and seen it from a distance, you know what that would look like?
Look like a boomerang.
It would look like a flying boomerang or a disc shape skipping across the air. Now, here's one of the German flying saucers that was reported. Was this something similar to what your dad may have seen?
It looks like a crushed hat to me.
Yep. And then here's another one, because there's like 2 or 3 different types of saucer types with crushed boomerangs that Hitler got, and they were supposedly built to intercept the B-17s that were destroying Germany at the time. They had like large flak cannons in it, and they were supposed to either come up from the bottom or the top and just rain holy hell on our B-17 crews. And then the other one was the Das Bell, which was supposedly a time machine or form of possibility of building to travel. It was supposed to be a spaceship, but also a possibility to be in a time machine. It looked like a giant acorn, but that's neither here or there. But that's where initially things started for you in your, I would say, with your dad opening up the door per se, and then your upbringing.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
I was just going to say that when I was growing up, too, not only did we have dark medicine have in the beginning, but the property that we lived on was very, very highly active with paranormal, supernatural type of activity. And the house was on
it. I don't care for haunted houses anymore. I've lived in enough of them as a kid, and yeah.
Well, to me, that was normal.
Even in EMS, I've worked in a couple stations that have been haunted, and I've had to have words with the spirits. Like, look, I don't mind you being here. I don't mind you walking around, but when you start grabbing my foot or bothering me while I'm trying to sleep, then we got an issue. You can, I just basically tell them, look, you can play all you want, but don't mess with my sleep. Oh yeah, here's the one we were talking about, the Glock Bell. Now, didn't you say your dad seen 2 or 3 of these there? Or something?
Yes, he did.
And that's the one that had the runes on it, I believe. Because there's rumors that this Nazi space center, basically, there was the acorn with the runes, and then they found something similar at a time in Pennsylvania when the
Kecksburg.
Kecksburg, yes, Kecksburg.
Kecksburg in 1965.
All right, I want to move on a little bit. Now, when your dad come home, he brought home 3 souvenirs of an animal-like origin. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I have part of one still with me.
Really?
And
Oh, crap. Have you ever...
anybody ever doubts there are things out there that are questionable that exist, I'm here to tell you they do.
Have you had a biologist ever take a look at that and can tell you what it is?
I've had a local university take a look at it, and they can only date it back at the time of my father during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
But what it is, and what he described, was basically a werewolf type of a creature that they dealt with in the Black Forest.
Mm-hmm.
And he went on to say that the bones that he had, he crushed some of them up into dust to make for medicine powder.
Right.
And then this is the only one we got left.
Wow. I never knew that because I know we've talked about it, but that's amazing. Is it strong medicine when you make it turn it into powder? Me asking because, like I say, I'm a layman when it comes to that.
It's not the kind of medicine you're thinking about. It's not going to cure cancer or anything like that. What it does is it makes you part of that beast.
Okay. Well, that's what I meant by when I say medicine, speaking as in you're all in the sense of spiritual medicine, as either it's a defense or you become part of it so you can track it or understand its means, motives, and maybe even be able to follow it or know what it's doing per se. That's probably what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. When I was a child growing up, my father was always kind of the hero. Everybody else had Superman and Batman during the days. But to me, it was my father. And,
I gotcha.
He had come out of World War II with 4 purple hearts.
Damn.
So he was definitely a real soldier, real warrior.
He sounded like to me he was a badass. And
He was.
as a Native American, he probably counted Coop in order to earn those.
Yes. In fact, when he had the incident in Black Forest the one time, he did actually take a scalp of one of the werewolf guys.
I believe it. I really believe it. Now, let's move on a few years. Did you have any incidents growing up as a teenager before you went into the service?
Oh yeah. I had all kinds of interesting things happen to me when I was growing up.
Anything you want to share or talk about?
Oh man, there's so many things. I mean, I saw everything on that property and in that house, from orbs to shadow people to water demons to Bigfoot, Dogman,
Now,
all kinds of different things.
I get a lot of people ask me this one question all the time, and I have to really think about how to answer this question. Is orbs. Now, when I went on that expedition earlier this year, I seen the orbs at the location where I was at, and I can't tell you where it was at, except it was in South Carolina, and it was along the Trail of Tears. So I personally believe it was spirits and their energy is manifested in orbs, because I was seeing orange, red, and blue orbs at ground level at distance. And to me, the first type of orbs to me is spiritual energy. You know, it's got to do with spirits, you know, that have that are still bound to the earth because of something traumatic. And another type of orb, I think, and some people may disagree, they're a form of like a quantum particle that might be charged and used as a probe by aliens, possibly, or time travelers. What's your opinion?
I've got some opinions on orbs being basically the spiritual essence of certain beings that come through portals or through the dimensions.
Okay.
That's pretty much self-explanatory. It's kind of like our chi, our bodies have electrical charge,
Right.
and energy around them.
And so this is the form of the natural chi of the earth.
Exactly. And I believe that some beings come into this realm, this dimension, have their chi or their ability to focus their chi in one place so they can maneuver between dimensions.
Okay. What's your opinion on dimensions? Because there is so many people talk about dimensions that you can have the dimension of hell, the dimension of heaven. You can have dimensions of other worlds. So it's a multi-dimensional theory, and it's just not a linear thought. It's a multi-dimensional thought.
I can tell you that hell is real.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think it's a burning fire place underground, and souls of people burning up flames. That's not it. There's what you all call the veil, which is ironically in your program.
Mm-hmm.
I call the shadow realm.
Mm-hmm.
Now the shadow realm is where most of our spirits will go. You see, in the human makeup, humankind, we have the physical body, we have the spirit, and we have the soul.
Right.
Now our soul rises on to the Creator.
Correct.
Okay, to God. Now, or the source.
Mm-hmm.
Our spirit, on the other hand, can travel into the veil, the shadow realm, or any other dimension it feels that it needs to go to or is pulled to.
Right.
A lot of the residual energies that people find in haunted places are the spirit of the human essence.
Okay. All right. Now, let me ask you this question. Now, since your father encountered werewolf-type creatures, do you think the dogmen that people see here in the United States, because I'm going to reference an instance where a truck driver struck and killed a dogman, got out of his truck because the creature was wounded, shot it with his .357, and then Men in Black showed up and accused him of killing a national asset.
Yeah.
Now,
you think I'll tell you something about the Men in Black?
Mm-hmm.
They are not what they appear to be. Okay.
I've heard the rumors about that.
Yeah. They are not even affiliated with any type of government or military. They are what I call, and what they have referenced me to call them, are the controllers.
Okay.
Now I liken the term controller to maybe fallen angel.
Okay.
So I kind of have that feeling that they have that connection.
Okay, so let me ask you a question now. When it comes to fallen angels, and a lot of people seem connotate demons with fallen angels. Mm-hmm. Could there be good fallen angels, or at least a neutral party, like what the term watchers?
I think
I've heard that term.
Watchers. Yeah, I think watchers are basically. I mean, they're all divine energy.
Right.
They're all divine divinity under God that created them.
Mm-hmm.
So they have that divine spark within them.
Right.
So they can't be completely 100% malevolent or evil.
Correct.
That's just another belief I have.
I'm going to ask you a question here, because I've been watching the world, how it turns. Now, for the last 4 years, it's been horrible worldwide. Now, the last year or so, Europe especially, all of a sudden, has done a 180 with immigration reform. They're woke up. They woke up basically,
Mm-hmm.
and they're starting to say, okay, these fake immigrants got to leave. They're standing up for their borders. They're standing up to. They're getting rid of the wokeness. It's like the scales on their eyes fell away. You know, similar changes are starting to occur here in the States. Slowly, not as fast like in Europe or in some other countries. You know,
Right.
like in some of the Asian countries even where it's happening. Do you think there's an intervention going on by I'm gonna say a rebels faction in the Watchers, because they got tired of watching and it's like, hey, we have to intercede because these controllers, they've been pushing the downfall and we need to stop it?
I think that there's that possibility, but also you've got to think of this too: the source, the Creator, God, Heavenly Father, and the power that He has, and the foresight that He has in humanity's progression.
But I always thought he was a non-interventivist, except he'd just get mad and then he'd throws a flood our way.
No, he's never said threaten to flood the world again. So
Yeah, I know. That was a one-time deal.
Because of NASA.
Mm-hmm.
So everything you see today is being manipulated by a certain fraction of people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I have been slowly exposing that fraction of people and corporations and governments for the last several months to the point where I've been threatened.
What about the possibility of it being alien influence? Because one individual I had on here accidentally slipped and says there's a council of 8 representatives of alien races that are here on Earth, and do you suppose a faction within them have intervened to prevent our downfall?
Yeah. Well, they're definitely intervening to stop nuclear war.
Mm-hmm.
So they have always been here. It's not even the fact that we call them extraterrestrial. Some of those races have been here right in our world the whole time, next to us.
Right.
But yes, there is a problem.
Now I'm going to ask you about your favorite topic, because every time we tried to talk about this, we've always had trouble.
Oh, geez.
Yes. I'm going to make it, we won't talk long on it. We'll make it short and sweet.
Okay.
Ed, I got a couple of pictures of reptilian-like creatures. What's your opinion on these? Because it seems like they may have been a precursor race on Earth, and at the time of the dinosaurs dying out, some of them may have fled and some of them may have went underground. And now the two forces are joining or trying to join. You got maybe good and bad, and some of them are here because, you know, one of the most popular conspiracy theories out there is Hillary Rodham Clinton is a reptilian. The royal family is reptilians, and most blue bloods are reptilians. And it's always strange that when they mention monarchies, they always call them blue bloods.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when I think blue, I think reptile.
Yeah. Cold-blooded.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, they are a reptilian race. They are shapeshifters, and sometimes they can't hold that ability to human form. So they start to speak a little bit, whether it's their eyes, whether it's their facial features, or their speech.
Mm-hmm.
They are basically the ones that are controlling everything too. And they've intimidated the government so much that the governments have to do what they say.
Okay.
Now, to go a little further with that, you can go back to the days of the Anunnaki and Sumerian tablets.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Anunnaki had a race of demigods, so to say, that were called the Igigi.
I'd never heard of them.
Okay, now
you got
the
me on that one.
Igigi were kind of like the demigods.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, kind of like Hercules, Samson.
Our heroes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they were working the gold mines originally until they rebelled and asked the Anunnaki to make another form to manual labor.
Right.
Well, that form, the first form that was made was a reptilian and Anunnaki combination.
Right.
The second form was Anunnaki and a human or ape man
Right.
type of a combination.
Okay.
So that's why we have two races being side by side.
Okay. Now you open up a door I want to ask you about. Now there's some talk about the Anunnaki. Some people say they're coming back.
They're already here.
They're already here.
Yeah.
So you say they've already come back, and are they in conference with certain world leaders?
The world leaders don't bother them whatsoever.
And who are they with? Who are they talking to, or who are they communicating with?
They're manipulating every race on this planet.
Okay.
They're taking the influencers, the Hollywood people, the musical industry. They're using every way possible to keep the veil over the eyes of humanity.
Gotcha. All right, let me ask you this. Nephilim, the giants, what's your opinion on that? And the Smithsonian. Who's behind the Smithsonian hiding all information on either giants or the little people?
The controllers are.
Why?
Because if humanity found out about their past, they would know that they were able to have the abilities to do certain things like I do in ceremonies.
Okay. But I mean, it's mentioned in the Bible of all places. I mean, if it's there, it's got to be some form of fact, you know?
No, it is fact. Nephilim are real.
Right.
You know the daughters of man that the fallen interbred with were turned into mermaids by the Creator. It was a curse. So everybody that thinks mermaids are the cute little blonde-haired, big-breasted women are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually a water demon.
Yeah. We had a show on mermaids on both sides where they looked human-like and a monstrosity that you really did not want to meet on a nighttime swim.
Yep.
All right. Now, here's a good question I think a lot of our followers would like to know, because I've got mixed thoughts on this subject, and I will until I can sit down and if it's able to talk and tell me, wonderful. Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. Big brother.
Big brother, yes, sir.
All right. Well, growing up as a Native American and a child, I had a lot of action and encounters with Bigfoot.
Because one thought I have is he's an avatar of the Native American pantheon.
Yeah.
Which makes him like a demon, demigod.
Yeah, we don't really call him a demon.
I didn't say demon, I said demigod.
He's more like an elemental.
A what?
An elemental.
Okay, an elemental. I got you.
He's got a connection to Mother Earth.
Right.
Mother Earth, just like the Native people do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's why we call upon him and the dog man in certain ceremonies to protect sacred land and mounds and graveyard.
Right.
That's why you see so many cryptic creatures in graveyards.
Okay. Now, what's this about some folks supposedly tying Bigfoot with unidentified flying objects? I will not use UAP. That is a freaking stupid word or phrase of words. Because to me, that means weather.
Yeah. There is a race, an alien race.
Okay.
That I call the shit shipper. They're not the walkers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They are more like they can transform themselves into things that humanity would fear.
Right.
Okay. So they can transform themselves into anything of the same size or bigger.
Right.
They can't go smaller.
Okay.
So they transfer their energy into a Bigfoot coming out of a UFO, and people see it, and they think, well, Bigfoot, UFO, Bigfoot's an alien.
Gotcha.
That's not it at all. It's the shapeshifter alien race that's doing that.
All right. I like that. I can go for that. I like that. Now, Dogman. What is now? There's people get Dogman, and I don't want to say this word because it draws bad connotations in the Native American culture. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the walker.
Right. Dogman and the other. What's your opinion?
Well, the Dogman is the Dogman 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually a race that came down the Yukon, Canada,
Mm-hmm.
the Nahanni Valley, where they live.
Okay.
Now the walkers, which is what one of the ceremonies I used to do,
Right.
are more of a demonic possession.
Okay.
Okay, kind of like what we go to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got you. So one's a demon and the other one is a creature. Now, werewolves, is that totally different than from the Dogman?
Well, werewolves, I mean, you have several different legends way back.
Yeah.
You have the Norse,
Scandinavia, Europe.
Yeah, all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what it would be either a curse or they would request to be transferred into something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Here's one for you. And personally, I think it's a weapon. It's a chupacabra. I know people are trying to pass it off as a dog, but no, it's not a dog. I don't have a chupacabra picture, but that's a werewolf. That's fine. You're good, Ed. But chupacabra, to me, it's a weapon. It's a bioweapon created by the United States government in a DOD lab or a DARPA lab in Puerto Rico that escaped.
Exactly.
That's where they initiated. And it's not this hybrid dog that you find along Arizona-Texas border.
No, but we do know that in nature there are going to be genetic mutations.
Yes.
You have two-headed snakes, you have all kinds of different types of things.
Right, and that happens. And you're going to run that with animals occasionally. You're going to get that cross. The genes are going to pass because sometimes there's a weak point in an animal that is possible that they can cross species.
Yep.
You know,
exactly.
they can, but the true chupacabra is a bioweapon, I believe, that escaped, and unfortunately, they did not make it sterile initially because I guess they wanted to reproduce for a battlefield environment.
Right.
But
see, a lot of these bioweapons and a lot of the stuff that we're seeing in the sky were a direct result of the end of World War II on Operation Paperclip.
Now, a lot of people are not familiar with Operation Paperclip, where thousands of Nazi scientists were brought over to the U.S. And this is not, just so people know, this was not just for rocketry. This was for genetic engineering, nuclear weapons. They were farther along than we believe. They supposedly even did detonate their first atomic weapon, but did not get it in production in time. There are squashed rumors about that. Weapon sciences, aircraft engineering, submarine engineering. The lines go on what these scientists could do. and they were all brought over here so the Soviets would not get them. I mean, they had the first generation air defense missile system, but they never got it built in time. People don't know this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, air-to-air missiles, they had the first generation. They were using them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our whole space agency is all engineered.
Excuse me?
The whole space agency, NASA.
Yeah, it's all
was
NASA.
taken over by the Nazis.
There is a supposed rumor that a V-2 actually carried a man to the edge of space, and it was a larger version of the V-2. I forget what they called it. And this German astronaut was actually recovered by the Japanese in the Sea of Japan. There's a story out there, and I know I talked about it on one of my other shows, and I'll have to go back and look up that information again. But supposedly the Germans were the first ones in space, but people don't realize that.
Yep. A lot of people think that the history that they're taught is the truth, and it's not. Civilization is built on top of civilization.
Yes.
So we are literally standing upon the bones of other generations.
Yes, I know. What was the name of that show I did? We were talking about this lost civilization where many of the buildings were in a Gothic style.
Tartaria?
Yes! What's your opinion on that?
It exists. If you think about all the wood fairs back in the 1920s, and all the architecture that was really innate, they could have never done it.
Okay.
The doorways were 16 feet high, weighed probably 500-600 pounds. There's no way they could have done it.
Gotcha. Let's talk about your property. Now, from one of your conversations we had when I first started talking with you, you got a portal on your property.
I've got two portals on our property.
Two? Okay. I just knew of the one that you showed me that time. You've had a lot of activity lately?
We always have activity here. Always. I'm guessing it's the ley line.
What do you think activates it? I mean, some people say it can be music because of the harmonics.
It's a vibration.
Vibrational frequency, which is what Tulsa believed in.
Well, I've been doing a lot of research with vibration frequencies, and I use the 525 megahertz. And I've had some experiences with making almost like little orbs in the middle of a room with it.
Really?
There's a way to get it, but I haven't got it down completely yet. There was a scientist, a garage scientist like me, that basically did the same thing that I'm doing, but he ended up disappearing.
Wow. Now, we're going to change tactics here in flow. Now, since the 1950s to present day, do you think, and I'm going to use the term controllers or / masters, do you think they influence our media? Like the Hollywood with movies, books to acclimatize, familiarize ourselves with alien encounters. Stargate, for example, because, there's a lot of things going around about portals, that the war in Iraq was actually about securing a portal so that Hassan couldn't use it. Alien technology, some people say a lot of these wars in the Middle East are deliberate as means of keeping the conflict there so that nobody stops long enough to see what's going on behind the scenes in either the technology that's hidden away, where people are in there grabbing the functional alien technology or lost technology because somebody else is in there grabbing it and removing it.
Yeah. the whole purpose of the secret space programs that are out there are with the Stargates. They say that we have already established bases on Mars, on the other side of the moon.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen anything to say anything different than that in my research.
Right. What about that British hacker that found, what was it, the 10th Fleet, which is a star fleet per se?
Yep.
Non-terrestrial officers, it was basically called.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on about that?
Well, I don't have any really theories about that person there because the way they got into the computer system to hack it. If it's the same individual we're talking about, he did it just to prove that he could do it. So I don't know if he embellished a little bit or whatnot.
Because supposedly Reagan even slipped and said something about UFOs and us having the technology at the time, and said something about the capability of carrying more people up to space or something. There was something that Reagan said that sent flags up in the UFO community. I can't, for the life of me, remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, I think he's been quoted as addressing the UN as saying that there would be no greater force to bring humanity together to defend the Earth, except there was outside evil coming to conquer it. Pretty much.
Okay. All right. You got anything special you want to give a holler out? Because we're starting to wind down on our time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if anybody wants to ask a question, they can email me
Tell them where.
Lodoman
Okay.
333 at gmail.com.
And they can catch you at what times on your shows? Tell us about that, and we'll throw your monikers back up. We'll throw your first one up.
Nighthawk Strangeness is Saturday and Sunday mornings. We have a paranormal weekend morning cruise show where we talk about everything paranormal, supernatural, and cryptid creature-wise. On Friday nights, we have Into the Rabbit Hole, which is our conspiracy theories and our mystery of the world podcast.
Cool. Now, I hope I'm going to do some serious advertising on this because you're here and I want your subscriber base to increase because you have been a great friend and source when I need help. And, you know, I've been helping some folks you directed towards me the best I can. And I'm going to try to reach as many people possible on tonight's show and see if we can't help you get over 800 subscribers.
Well, we are currently at 805 right now.
Okay.
But you know how social media is and to cause you more problems when you talk about truth.
I know.
So, and YouTube does that a lot.
I understand. But we're going to try and reach out to a bunch of people tonight, and I do hope that out of those people that we reached, that maybe at least 10 people come and sign up for you and look you up and make you part of their
I appreciate that.
weekly appreciation, because this is my goal for you, and this was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on my show, is to talk to you. I wanted to give thanks because I consider you one of my friends, a great person. Just generally talk to you and put your face out there on my show for what it's worth. And
I wanted to show you that this is something that my father and I put together.
Lang defeats Michael Phillips at
it is all of his military stuff and his boxing career and everything.
Wow.
So even have the World War II ration stamps and everything.
Wow.
Um,
Well, once again, William, I want to tell you thank you for being here. Thank you for your service in the Army like you did. Thank you for what you do for the community, for being there for folks that need you. And you even helped out a friend of mine he had a bad experience after an investigation we did. You told him how to repel the bad spirit that was following him, and it worked. And on his behalf, I want to tell you thank you.
well, I'm no longer a black medicine man. I'm a white medicine man.
Yes. So you people know he fights for the side of the light. He's a light warrior. And I want to tell you what, I couldn't ask for somebody to call his friend and somebody to look out for. And if you need information, or you need help, or you got a question, you've got something going on, you don't know what to do or how to do it, he can explain it to you. He explained to me about gifting to Bigfoot. Explained to me how to do some things out in the field, and there's still a lot more that I can learn from him and continue to learn from him. And you guys got questions, please. This is the person I turn to and I refer people to when I have issues. Because, like I say, I'm still a noob in the woods. And William's got me beat by light years with his experiences from decades of experience.
I'll be here for you, brother.
I appreciate it, William. Well, William, we're going to sign off here from South Carolina, and you're up there in Virginia. And once again, my friend, thank you for being on the show. And we'll have to do this again one night and find another topic maybe, and just sit down and talk it out a little bit and have some fun.
Exactly.
All right. Well, William,
Take care, everybody.
you too. Thank you, and have a good night. This is Norman signing off from Pickens, South Carolina, with episode 46 and the fabulous work of my producer, Ed. We all give you a thanks. Be safe, be sound, and we look forward to the next episode of Beyond the Veil.